Hello there, mates.
No, we're not seeing Mary Poppins.
Oh, right.
Do your best Dick Cheney impression.
Oh, shit. Can I do George Bush instead?
Yeah. We're going to see Vice. I'm Oliver the Ricketts.
I'm Brittany with glasses.
I'm Jeremy Kessler.
I'm really excited. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of, real Oscar contender movies this year, but this was definitely meant to be one. That shouldn't be a reason to want to see the movie, but I'm just saying it's interesting. A good reason to see the movie would be because Dick Cheney's just a really interesting character, I think.
Character, as if he's not a real person.
Just a guy that kind of lucked his way into the position that he held in life, regardless of how you feel about him. I just hope that Adam McKay can separate himself from how he feels politically and just tell it like it is.
Right. The only thing I've heard about this movie was from my Republican grandparents, in which they said it was a very scathing take on Dick Cheney.
Right.
What that means, I don't know. I don't know shit about Dick Cheney. I don't know anything about politics. I don't like to pretend that I do.
In a similar boat of what Brittany just said, that this is not an area that I know a lot about or am usually particularly interested by.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that was it. I'm interested to see if this movie can
break
keep
it
me
down.
Interested, or break it down in a way that I'll be engaged through all of it.
And it looks like it's a lot of fun. Sam Rockwell looks like he's going to be great. He's one of my favorite actors, just period. Christian Bale looks amazing as Dick Cheney. You know, I'm hoping that they could just tell the events the way that they happened and everybody else could just come to how they feel about it
on their own,
you know. But I'm excited about it.
Well, let's go see it then.
We just got out of Vice, and I got a couple things to say off the bat. Number one, the way that they're advertising this movie is, in the movie that they're selling, is not at all the movie that this is. I really believe that he set out to try to make something unbiased, probably on day one. And then somewhere in the middle, I feel like he just dropped that. Because this movie plays very much like Dick Cheney as a supervillain.
I did turn to you at one point in time and say, I feel like I'm watching a Bond film. They're making Dick Cheney into this, maniacal villain. And I thought that was kind of silly. It would be appropriate if he were twirling his mustache and in the corner, yeah.
And not even in his actions. Certain ways that the movie frames Dick Cheney, even visually, are the ways that we're conditioned already as an audience to view a supervillain. So right off the bat, it's showing you, oh yeah, he's bad. Fair enough, we put all facts in the movie like the movie decided to point out to us at the end. But the way that you're interpreting the facts is definitely skewed to be biased. And you're also leaving out other facts because, believe it or not, he wasn't a shitbag all the time.
There were some, sequences that I thought were kind of interesting. But I don't know. I guess it just ended, and I felt tired.
Yeah.
It's 1 a.m., but not the kind of tired that you would feel at 1 a.m.
I've never seen The Big Short, but a big thing that people talk about with that movie was that it took something that was complicated and made it easy to understand by breaking it down. And I think that this movie tries to do that also, but the problem is that nothing in this movie is very complicated.
I just don't think I agreed with a lot of the style choices that they made for the film. We couldn't decide if the movie was supposed to be a biopic, a expose, a documentary, a spoof film. I just think that the movie was a little all over the place and intentionally all over the place. You want to explain to me that it's a delicate situation by saying it's a delicate situation, showing me it's a delicate situation, saying that it's like stacking a teacup on top of a saucer on top of a teacup on top of a saucer, then showing me stacking a teacup on top of a saucer on top of a teacup on top of a saucer, and then watching later in the film that falling down. I didn't need 4 different kinds of explanation to understand that this is sensitive material that we're talking about. I don't need it to be explained to me that often. Almost just annoying and pretentious.
Right, because again, nothing in here is very hard to understand to begin with. if you want to make a movie like this, I agree, you probably need some kind of framing device, because just the facts are not going to sell. You need style behind it.
Right.
The mistake that's made here is that there are too many framing devices. What you need to do is you need to pick one, or maybe a major one and a minor one. He decides to pick every single framing device that's ever existed. We have a narrator, we have inner monologue, we have still shots, we have moving shots. There's too much shit going on. Then at times, he'll literally spell out what's happening on the screen. And it's not needed.
It had these moments where it was being comedic, and I thought, personally, there were points where I thought it was funny, but also, like, weirdly out of place that the movie just pretends that it's going to end at one point.
It's a pretty dark subject matter if you want, unless you wanted to make it that, oh, he was a good guy sometimes and a bad guy sometimes, but if you want to make it that he's a bad guy and he's in control of the country, that's extremely dark, and now it feels weird to joke about it.
At one point in time, they just started doing different things just to, like, play. Like, the whole scene where he and his wife are talking to each other in Shakespearean monologue.
Yeah, that's the other one that's
like, I just didn't understand why that even was a thing. Like, why? Like,
it was, I think, supposed to be a joke, but it wasn't very funny.
Like, certain things I can see why they're in the movie and, like, why that might help somebody understand what's happening. It doesn't fit, and it makes it feel more like you're watching something for school than you're watching a movie.
It took me by surprise, because up until that point, yeah, they were making, like, interesting choices here and there, but they weren't going flat out as to say, we're just going to start spouting nonsense and put it into this movie.
It just, on a dime, at points decides to change how certain things will work.
And maybe it would have worked if the movie was fictional, but now you're trying to be very serious, and you're trying to talk about shit that's extremely serious. Like, haha, Christian Bale is Dick Cheney. And okay, that's funny. And then we see real life footage of a guy being pulled around on a leash in a torture chamber. So, and that's fucking real. So I'm laughing 1 minute, and then you're showing me these horribly morbid, like, shots of real life. And if you want to do that, great, but don't turn everything else into a joke, because now it's not a joke.
And I felt like this is definitely one of those movies that really wanted to be, like, smart and really, like, thought-provoking, like I was saying before. And that's why it's doing those things, to be like, ha, look, we're going to throw all these things in your face and we're going to make you feel like shit while watching this movie. But then when you turn around and say that you don't like it, or that you don't understand, or that you don't appreciate it, well, you're the dumbass because you went into a movie talking about politics and you don't even know what we're talking about.
Right. Pluses. If anybody hasn't.
I mean, you totally forget that it's Christian Bale.
Oh, yeah.
He looks so much like an old fat guy.
Not even just Christian Bale, but Amy Adams is fucking great in this movie.
Yeah. And even Sam Rockwell as George W. I mean, that was the other thing. I mean, like, this movie really, really made George W. Bush out to be a fucking idiot.
Well,
and
that's actually a really big problem for me, because I get it. Everybody jokes about George W's a fucking ass. And, like, I think Sam Rockwell himself was great in the movie, but you're making jokes that Michael Bay made in the first Transformers movie, and it's not funny in real life. Haha, he's a fucking idiot. But it's just not 100% true. Actually, if you watch it like this, it looks like George Bush is totally innocent of any of the shit that went down during his administration, because he's an idiot.
I mean, like I said before, I thought there were sequences that I enjoyed watching from, like, that I think in a movie that I would have enjoyed more would have been, like, really good sequences.
This is a C-, which is a shame, because I really was looking forward to it, and somewhere in there is a really, really good movie. It's just buried by a bunch of other crap.
Yeah, I'm also gonna give it a C-. Actually, I probably could even... Yeah, no, I'll give it a C-, because there were some performances in there that I really did appreciate, I really did enjoy, and I do feel like the actors did a great job with their roles. I just don't think that the movie was put together in a good way. I think that it was a little biased and a little all over the place and a little too much at times. So yeah, I'll go with the C- as well.
We're gonna step down. I'm gonna give it a D+. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like a it's not a thing I enjoy in terms of subject matter. So it's like, to me, like, that hurts it. At that, it doesn't even make it that much of an enjoyable experience, and it's it's all over the place, as was said. I guess to that, it's not a movie I would recommend to anybody. So
Yeah.
D+.
Not even people who like politics. The first bummer of 2019. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Whoa.
Ah!